Hey there, I'm Sheryl, mental toughness coach, published author, speaker, and mother to a couple of great kids who happen to be high school and college student athletes. Before we get started with this content, I want to ask you a question. What do you think that Venus Williams said in a very recent interview that she had with Vanity Fair magazine? Venus Williams, as you probably know, is the sister of Serena Williams and a top-ranked, world-ranked tennis player. So her answer to a question of what is the most important secret you have for your performance? And her answer was mental toughness and visualization. So have you ever wondered how your teen can accelerate their progress in addition to physical practice? High-resolution imagery training is a tool that elite athletes use to champion their physical practice. I call it high resolution because it needs to be incredibly vivid in order to make it work. You've probably heard of it called just imagery training, or as I mentioned above, visualization. So there's a couple ways that teens can learn to do this. First is they need to learn how to neutralize the negative. It's the inconvenient truth that sequences perceived as negative, and typically these are errors, can be very emotional for teens. They feel disappointment, frustration, and anger, and these emotions are not too helpful when it comes to high performance. So why not remember the good things and forget about the rest? Here's a few tips on how to do that. Teens can acknowledge an emotion they're feeling after an error. They've made a mistake. They can understand they might be angry or frustrated, but they need to take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, and let it move aside. They need to defer that emotion to another time when it's more important. So that emotion's okay, just not for right now. And then they need to ask themselves, what's one thing I could have done better? And what's one thing I can do right now to reload and get ready? 2, they need to get really excited about their successes, no matter how big or how small. It's very important that they surround these successes with a lot of emotion. And as I mentioned, no matter how big or how small. Here's a couple tips on how to do that. Many senses as possible should be used. So they need to think, how did they feel? What did their hands feel like? What did their legs feel like? They need to take a deep breath in and just really smell what that success felt like. And when they do something right, they need to think, yes, that's it. So surround a lot of emotion. Also, number 3, they need to create a personal library for themselves. And if they learn how to do 1 and 2, this should be pretty easy. They need to think, what is the most important sequence to me right now in order to do my best? Then they need to think, what are these vivid images and how detailed can I make them? And they need to practice those. Finally, they need to remember that errors have no place in their personal library. They didn't happen. If teens can remember how to be aware of the good, neutralize the not so good, and learn from their mistakes, practice and repeat, they'll be well on their way to learning how to become proficient at high-resolution imagery training for their best performance. I really appreciate you taking the time to read or listen to this video, and I hope you found it helpful. I encourage you to pass it along to at least one person or share on Facebook so someone else can benefit too. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.